I saw something from Canada that I want to play for you. It is an ad that it's an ad for a retail brand in Canada that we don't have here. Listen.
Dying in a hospital is not what's natural. That's not what's soft. In these kind of moments, you need softness. It can take dying to figure out what living is actually like. I spent my life filling my heart with beauty, with nature, with connection. So I choose to fill my final moments with the same. Last breaths are sacred. When I imagine my final days, I see music. I see the ocean. I see cheesecake.
So this is an ad called All is Beauty.
I seek help to end my life with all the pain.
It is a campaign in support of medically assisted suicide.
You just have to be brave enough to see it. And seeing the rhythms of
now
what's going to keep going after I'm gone.
I want to be very, very careful here and stick to the facts. Canada is going through a massive transformation, and Canada is leading the way, at least in this hemisphere, on physician-assisted suicide. I understand, as I have watched people die in pain in my life, I understand, and I cannot solve the problem of assisted suicide that we so readily do with our animals, our dogs, and not with people, other than dogs are not people. But it's the same kind of heartbreak. You want them out of pain. So I want to make sure that I am very, very clear. I think the state... I'm undecided on this. My gut is the state doesn't have a role in assisting anyone, ever. But I'm not sure the state has a right to say, I can't die. But I don't know. I don't know. However, this always starts with pain, and usually elderly. Now, Canada has, as I told you 2 weeks ago, Canada has now started execution of people that are mentally unstable or in so much pain that they can't afford to live anymore. I told you the story of a man who is about to lose his house. He's dying. He said, I don't want to die, but I know I'll die on the street and it will be awful. So what choice do I have? And the reporter was making this into a really good thing. Well, if it is, maybe we have a solution to our homeless problem. Now, they have proposed something else. I want you to recognize and start looking for these things because they are happening. We are dealing with evil. We are not dealing with mere policies. We can argue tax codes all day long and still be friends. But when we get to executing people, and executing people because they're in pain and I can't relate to their lifestyle. I don't think they have a good life, even though they say, I'm going to do this because I can't live on the street and I'll die a painful death without my medicine. In Canada, we're talking evil. I want you to start watching for the things that are coming out of the media all over the world, the mainstream media, several times, and in some of these forums, people have promoted suicide as a solution to climate change. Now, I'm not saying that this is why we don't pay attention, but it is awfully convenient that our kids have become more and more suicidal, that our population has become more suicidal, and no one in the medical industry seems to care. No one is ringing the bell. Well, there's, as I told you before, there is now a way to take your life back. From early adopting Switzerland to latest to the table Australia, more and more countries are legalizing the practice of euthanasia. It's now available to over 280 million people in 11 countries around the world. It was offered to my mother, who recently and gratefully used Canada's legislation to orchestrate her own wise demise. If we don't claim the design of our own death, it is likely someone else will. So the government started arguing this, that people who were nearing the end of their life and had a fatal disease. The next was someone with mental illness. Now, wait a minute. Mental illness. In 2021, Bill C-7 amended the Canadian Criminal Code to repeal the provision that a person's natural death be reasonably foreseeable in order for them to be eligible for MAID. MAID is their assisted in death. Medical assistance in death, I think, is what MAID stands for. So now, if you're mentally ill, you can request death. Kill yourself because you're depressed. So, wait a minute. So the medical industry that has been pumping out antidepressants and given us all kinds of things, now what, are they just throwing their hands up? You know what? You're depressed. None of that stuff really works. You should kill yourself. Okay. Well, the Belgian government just killed an otherwise physically healthy 23-year-old woman who had survived a terror attack when she was a teenager because she suffered every day since, and she was not living a good life. Now they're crossing the Holy Grail in Canada. The Canadian Pediatric Society, CPS, has just written Medical Assistance in Dying, a Pediatric Perspective, ensuring that newborns, children, and youth receive the highest possible standard of care as they are dying. And dying is a privilege and a responsibility for physicians and allied professionals, bringing about a thoughtful, respectful, and personal approach to everyday end-of-life situations is an essential and evolving duty of care, and process should meet each patient and family's unique social, cultural, and spiritual needs. Oh, so it's okay to kill children in Canada as long as we meet their cultural and social and spiritual needs. The Canadian Pediatric Society refers to the children it aims to mercy kill as mature minors. Mature minors. In other words, you have to have enough sense of self and request that someone kills you. That makes you eligible. However, what about those who are born without the ability to understand things? Are they really living their highest life? If you look at what is being pushed all over our society, you will see names like Jane Goodall, who said, all of our problems on Earth, with climate change would be solved if the population of Earth was reduced by 90%. By the way, she's an agenda contributor to the World Economic Forum. So to kill 90% of the population, that would, that'd be hard. And it'd make the Nazis and the Soviets and the Chinese combined look like rookies. Now, I'm not suggesting that they're going to be building camps like China does. That would be a bridge too far, wouldn't it? But why the push now to kill our children, our homeless, our handicapped, those people who suffer from depression? The reason is we are battling evil. And it is the same evil that reared its head back in the 1930s. Same evil. It's all about control and power. It's all about inflicting a certain ideology onto every man, woman, and child. And if you disagree, you're a useless eater. Which, by the way, is the same exact agenda that people in the Fabian Socialist Society in England had around the turn of the century. What happens is it rears its ugly head, it's discredited. It rears its ugly head, it's discredited. Well, it's rearing its ugly head. May I suggest we discredit it now and not wait for the final solutions?